Guru Granth Sahib, there is Gurbani, the spiritual wisdom of the Sikh Gurus, and then there is Bhagat Bani, the spiritual wisdom of 15 Bhagats who were not Sikhs. Both are revered equally. The word Bhagat comes from Bhakti, or devotion, and these were people who were deeply devoted to God. One of the Bhagats was Sheikh Farid. 116 of his hymns are included in the Guru Granth Sahib in a part titled Salok Sheikh Farid Ke, or the hymns of Sheikh Farid. Now you would expect that this section has 116 hymns. It actually has 134. Where do the extra 18 hymns come from? Let's talk about these. When Guru Nanak first came to learn of Sheikh Farid's view on a wide variety of subjects, he found them to be mostly in alignment with his own views and the teachings that he wanted to pass on to the Sikh community. Sheikh Farid, who established the tradition of Sufi poetry, wrote about the longing to be united with the one supreme being, the temporary nature of materialistic things in life, and of the equality of all before God. So much of this was already at the core of Sikhi, and so Guru Nanak recorded Sheikh Farid's hymns. But he also found that some of Sheikh Farid's ideas were divergent from those of Sikhi. Sheikh Farid could be dogmatic and pessimistic. He often took a dark view of life. Sikhi, on the other hand, is about optimism and eternal resilience. So when Guru Nanak recorded Sheikh Farid's hymns, he also recorded his impressions about them, and he recorded these as hymns. Sometimes he carried forward Sheikh Farid's views. At other times, he spelled out how Sikh philosophy differed from Sheikh Farid's views. Later, the third Guru, Guru Amar Das, also studied Sheikh Farid's hymns and did the same. When the fifth Guru, Guru Arjan Dev, compiled the first Sikh scripture, the Adi Granth, he included Sheikh Farid's 116 hymns and all of Guru Nanak and Guru Amar Das's related hymns. He also added hymns of his own as commentary for Sheikh Farid's hymns. Between the three Gurus, there were 18 such commentary hymns, and when added to Sheikh Farid's 116 hymns, they brought the total number of hymns in this part of the Guru Granth Sahib to 134. Let me show you a little bit from this part of the Guru Granth Sahib. This is the Search Gurbani website, and I am on page or Ank 1377. Sheikh Farid's hymns begin here, where it says Slok Sheikh Farid Ke. If you turn to page or Ank 1382, you read something interesting that Sheikh Farid writes. He writes here that he thought only he was suffering, but in fact the whole world is suffering. And he says that when he climbed the hill and looked around, he saw that there is a fire burning in each and every home. Now this is a very pessimistic view of life because it says that there is suffering everywhere. Guru Arjan Dev has a response to this verse, and we know because the verse is followed by Mehla Panjwa or Mehla 5. Guru Arjan Dev was the fifth Sikh Guru, and therefore we know that the verse that follows was composed by him. In this verse he says, Farid, this earth is beautiful, but in the garden there are some thorns. And those beings who are blessed by God, they don't suffer even a scratch from those thorns. But Guru Arjan Dev is not done. He composes yet another verse right after that. And again, we know that because just like Mehla Panjwa, we have another Mehla Panjwa. In this, Guru Arjan Dev says, Farid, life is blessed and beautiful along with the beautiful body. And he says people who truly love God are very rare. Now here, Guru Arjan Dev makes a reference to a beautiful body. What he's really saying is that in Sikhi, a positive value is attached to a healthy body. And he feels compelled to point that out because Farid had a strongly held belief about the mortification of the flesh. All of this illustrates some very interesting aspects about Sikhi. It was so important to the Sikh Gurus to include spiritual wisdom from other faiths that they were not deterred by any divergent views. In fact, they included them without alterations or redactions. When they inserted their own hymns, they did it respectfully without any hostility. And finally, they respected the faiths that the Bhagats came from. Sheikh Farid included several references to Islamic practices and beliefs, and these were all left untouched. The Gurus only addressed views that involved rigid practices and a worldview that was dark and hopeless. Sikhi, after all, is about optimism and eternal resilience.
फरीदा उमर रंगावली मांझ वसूला बाग जो जन पीर निवाजया तिन्ना अंचन लाग मोहल्ला पंजवा फरीदा उमर सुहावड़ी संग समनड़ी दे ਵਿਰਲੇ ਕਈ ਪਾਈਨ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਪਿਆਰੇ